There's just so many different opinions about what to do, what not to do, how to do it. I didn't want people to know who I was. I was just really afraid of being judged.
When it comes to that series, are there people who dislike your attitude on there and like you've gotten some backlash for like being too hard on people?
Absolutely. There's a lot of judgment in the community. There's been a couple like other YouTubers who I don't think they like me very much.
Have you found that like maybe competitors on YouTube or on social media, they're more gatekeeping? Or
Oh God, we're getting into some deep territory here.
Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Let's Get Into It podcast, hosted by me, Sloan. Today we are joined by a great friend, Lorelei Carlson, also known as Lennon the Bunny here on YouTube. How are you doing, Lorelei?
I'm doing really well, thanks. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, and I'm excited that you're here because you're doing like charity work at this point because Lorelei's been a friend for a long time. We actually met here in LA and we've like kept up for a while. So I've been like going through this whole project and just living life, and we're constantly keeping each other up to date. So it feels like two worlds colliding having you on.
Aw, I know. It's crazy. Like we met over a year and a half ago.
Like May or of 2022.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whole
Foods. Lorelei came up to me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I like watch your videos." And I was just here for like a couple days. I think I was like 3 days into like 2 days into me moving to LA. So
yeah, Whole Foods. It was such a meet cute, which is, I don't know if you know what a meet cute is.
No,
but
what's that
it's
mean?
like in like the film world, it's basically just a really cute, unique story when like two like people meet in a very romantic way. Obviously, this isn't like romantic, but still. Because like how often do you meet people at Whole Foods? Like, not often. But I was like, hey, wait, I recognize this person, and I was like, I have a channel too, and then we just kind of like hit it off. And I think like you were just still getting your toes wet in LA, so you didn't
completely.
like know people.
I had no friends. I was like, let's get dinner this week. I'm so down.
I remember that. So yeah, I'm so glad, because it's also, I feel like in our community, it's good to, anyone that you can meet in your field, it's just good to know them. You know what I mean? And but we wound up developing a really beautiful friendship out of it, which I really appreciate. And I'm just so glad that
I know.
we did.
We could get like so personal, but we're not going to take it to that level today. But you like are right with that. I mean, it's so nice to connect with people here on YouTube. And like, even we had lunch the other day and you introduced me to someone, and we're like talking about how like some people like gatekeep it all, but like we're all on the same side. And I mean, your content is so niche as well. Let's talk about the bunny in the room. Lennon. So Lennon
the elephant in the room.
That's what I was trying to refer to. So Lennon has a large following, over like 700K, right?
Yeah. On YouTube, and then like over 100 something on Instagram. But yeah, how did it happen? Oh my gosh. Well, it was not an overnight thing, that's for sure. I mean, I started YouTube back in 2015 is when I opened the channel, or 2016.
Why? Did you just like YouTube or something? Or
well, so I got Lennon a year prior in 2015. And that first year of being with her was just me, trial and error, just really navigating this, bunnyhood. And I found that there wasn't really any content on YouTube or on the internet in general about rabbits. And, there's all this dog and cat stuff, but I don't know about you, I'm a visual learner. And I was like, I just feel like, I saw there were a couple channels, these like little teenage girls, with their cell phones or whatever. And I was just like, I feel like I could do that, but like 10 times better.
Yeah.
And I have this background in film and music because I'm a musician and I studied film at UCLA. And so I have a little bit of an artist's eye, and I appreciate beautiful cinematography. And I was like, I feel like if I just document our life together and I share the knowledge that I've gained, all these hacks and things that I've kind of cultivated over the past year to make life with a rabbit easier, I just really wanted to share it with the world. And I was like, I feel like I can do this in a really beautiful way. And so I started documenting our life together. And not only that, but there was no content surrounding free roaming a rabbit, which basically means just letting them, you know, roam around your home with no cage, no enclosure, just letting them roam like a dog or a cat. And
which is like
sleeping.
reminds me of like I had a roommate in college. I don't know if this is like animal abuse. I guess you can tell me, but she had a rabbit named Frankie, and she was a girl actually too. So boy named for a girl rabbit. But she like lived in the closet, like her sliding glass closet, and like she had like her in a cage.
I thought you meant like she was in the closet.
No, I mean that roommate was too. But she kept her bunny in like this in a cage in the closet, and like could close the closet, so it was just like. Like the bunny almost wasn't there.
Yeah.
And your bunny is like, just lives among your apartment. Like you can like call Lennon over and she comes right away. So
she uses a litter box. She just roams around like a cat, you know.
So what is standard for bunnies? Like is the cage or like this is like a new wave what you have done with Lennon, right? Like a free roaming rabbit?
Yeah. I mean, the concept definitely existed before, you know, I was making videos on it, but I do feel like we helped popularize it, for, you know, in the modern day. And, you know, I really focused on trying to show people how it can be done and how it can be done properly. Because if you don't do it properly, then, you know.
Yeah, like could it?
You've got to like, bunny proof and, you know, I guess just like you would cat or dog proof in a way, because every animal is destructive if you really think about it. You know, cats destroy couches and curtains, and dogs dig at, you know, plants and all sorts of things. So it's really no different. I just wanted to show people that it can be done, and because there's a little bit of a fear behind it. They're still stereotyped as caged animals because they, you know, they're still viewed as livestock and all this stuff. They have a terrible reputation. They're, you know, in the fur industry, the meat industry. And so there's a lot of, you know, stereotypes that have been working to peel away over the years on this channel. But people really gravitated toward our content because there was nothing like it. Yeah. And I was the first person to make content on free roaming a rabbit of all time on the internet, basically. So it, you know, people had never really seen that before.
Yeah, so it caught on.
Yeah.
To clarify, you went and you studied like film at UCLA, right?
Yeah.
And then like when did like becoming a YouTuber or creating videos like become a thing? Like were you always creating videos and then just like Lennon came into your life and you're like, oh, I'll create videos about this? Or like where did like the social media aspect come into your life? Like were you already like popular on Instagram before and like kind of getting into the hang of it?
That's a great question. Well, prior to the channel, I was pursuing music full time. And so, you know, I do have a little bit of background in like social media marketing, and had a little bit of a following that, you know, to this day still has trickled in from like my musician days.
Yeah, you have a Spotify page, right?
Yeah, I've got music on there and stuff, and people still, you know, they're like, hey, still really love this song from whatever, however many years ago. But while I was at UCLA, I think I just was in a place where it was kind of a do or die, because I was, you know, on the brink of graduating. I had sort of really hustled in the music space, but, you know, wasn't finding a ton of success there. But I still had this passion for creating and just being a creative. And this felt like such a great, I don't know, avenue for me to exercise creativity in a different way that I hadn't before. And I just have such a huge passion for film and music and just production in general.
Editing? You don't mind the editing?
I mean, I think I do actually like editing, but I don't like love editing every single day. Like for
it
YouTube.
Takes so long, especially the way you do it.
I think in the beginning, like there was a novelty aspect to it where I was like, hey, this is actually really cool, you know, to make these things from scratch. But then as you start pumping out more content, then it becomes more mechanical. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it. This just felt like a really natural avenue for me to exercise creativity. And a lot of YouTubers have come out of UCLA as well. And, you know, I just, yeah, I think, and when I started, it was just like a really thriving time too on YouTube.
Yeah, so you kind of went in though with the mindset of like building this up, like kind of more calculated, I'd say, like not a negative way. Like for me, I like personally was just making videos. I always enjoyed making videos. And then I like did my first like news kind of story time one and it got a lot more views. And then I started doing more of those and then just kind of like advanced over time. You kind of went right in with this like mindset of like, we're going to create this channel with this purpose. And then it took off essentially.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but like any YouTuber will tell you, which is what you kind of just said, you start doing it just for fun. Yeah. And I had no idea that it would become what it did. And I didn't make any money off of it for the longest time. Like the first year, it was just like, oh, cool, I can pay my cell phone bill. And then, you know, the more content I put out, because I would revisit it. I would just put out content like once every couple months. Yeah. And I would go back to a video and it'd have like tens of thousands of views with comments requesting like, hey, can you show me can you make a video on how to potty train a bunny? Or can you make a video on how to, you know, bond with your bunny? And I saw that there was a market. There was a market that nobody had really tapped into. There was a huge gap. And I just kind of took it upon myself to fill in that gap and be that person since nobody else was doing it. And the more I started putting out videos on a regular basis and stuff, eventually I was just able to quit my job. Yeah. You know, I always
What was your job before?
I was a receptionist.
So you like went to UCLA, you came from Virginia, we're from like the same area, which is like so weird. I met like someone else at the gym recently from like Fairfax and I was like, why are we all out here? We're the ones that escaped. But
that's true.
So you went to school and then you had this like ambition of like wanting to sing and you liked film production. But you ended up like, you know, at a receptionist job, which is like what a lot of people do in LA when you're trying to make it. And then you continued that job while making the YouTube until the YouTube became profitable to just like, when was that jump? Like what year did you kind of like leave your job and then?
I left my job in 2019, but I was too scared to leave for like a year. Yeah. So I could have left like a year prior, maybe even 2. But I was like, oh, I don't know. This seems unstable. Like, I don't know if I'm ready. And basically you know, the moment I was like, I can pay my rent and I can pay all, you know, whatever else with it. Like, I think it's time, you know. And I eventually, left and just started doing it full time. And that's when it really took off. Yeah.
And well, you're also saying 2019. So that we're going into 2020 where the pandemic hit. And then a lot of people wanted to get pets. Like I know dogs were sold out. So I'm sure like bunnies had a similar effect, right? So then you got another wave of people just like paying attention to your content because you're teaching them how to essentially like raise a bunny in the best way.
Yeah, precisely. 2020 was really interesting year for creators in general. I think it's just people were at home and they were just watching content and we couldn't leave the house. And but there was a huge wave of pet adoptions across the board. All the shelters, you know, rescues saw a huge wave in that and fostering. So we gained a lot of new, you know, viewers that way.
When you like talk about this channel, you definitely feel like a dissociation, right? Or because I don't know, you say it like like Lennon's doing anything.
Everybody says that to me all the time.
Do you do it as like kind of like a humbling thing? I don't know, like what, or do you really just see it as like she's like I guess the star, so
everyone's always like, who's we? And I'm like, Lennon, because she is my business partner at the end of the day.
I totally get that too. Because sometimes I say we nowadays because I'm thinking of like some employees I have, like my editor and research people. I'm like, oh, we. But I'm like, oh, I guess it's just me. Yeah. But it is you too. Because you really are a big part of your videos as well. Like you're in them, your face is showing, you're teaching hands-on things, you're doing B-roll of your bunny. So
yeah, totally. And the funny thing is like the first like 6 months of the channel, I was anonymous and I just did voiceover work. I was like a spill sesh, but for bunnies. But I just had like B-roll of Lennon and I would just talk because I didn't want people to know who I was. I was just really afraid of being judged. So
where does that stem from? Just like social media hate or like your personal, like you just did not have the confidence?
God, we're getting into some deep territory here. Fear of being judged. Well, I think that's just, you know, a pretty humanistic aspect in general. But I think that the bunny community specifically, there's a lot of judgment in the bunny community because it's still, I think it's still a relatively new community in the sense that we've only come together in recent years on social media, and there's just so many different opinions about what to do, what not to do, how to do it. And, of course, anytime you have someone with a platform like us coming in and like throwing out our theory, then, there's always going to be a vocal minority who are like, you're,
someone
abusing
commenting
your
on
bunny and like you're whatever.
I can imagine someone commenting on another video and be like, Lorelei said to do it this way. I mean, was there any like bunny beef ever between people, like where like people voiced each other's opinions on their opinions? Like, I want it this way, but also this channel is telling you to do this. I would never do that. Has that happened or like
all the time? Yeah. There's so much drama and like on PetTube. They call it PetTube because there's so many like different like pet creators. But yeah, there's been a couple like other bunny YouTubers who I don't think they like me very much. I had a thing with Gabby DeMartino that was like pretty crazy because I made a video reacting to her rabbit care. She's like a big, bunny person.
Oh, she is? Okay.
Yeah.
What was she doing?
Well, she has bunnies. I don't know if she still has them, but she had like made this whole vlog and she like kept them in a cage and all this. So I reacted to the whole thing, and you can already imagine.
Did it do well?
Yes.
Yeah. And
so
then did she comment?
She did. Yeah, she did. She did. And then she wrote like this paragraphical like comment. It was very, very long. I pinned it.
Aggressive?
So, well, I don't know if it was aggressive.
Defensive?
But more so defensive. And then she followed Lennon.
Did she ever DM you or anything?
No, but I think it was one of those things where I think it was just like whatever was said, was said.
Yeah.
And we just kind of like.
She kind of got it all out in the comment.
I think she wanted that to be public, and then like there was no further communication.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So like we were talking earlier about like being friendly with other YouTubers and like sharing tips. Like have you found that like maybe competitors, other rabbits on YouTube or on social media, they're more gatekeeping, or have you made some connections with other? I don't know any other bigger bunnies or big bunnies online. So does Lennon have friends in the industry?
Lennon has a lot of friends in the industry. You'd be surprised. There's definitely a lot of. I mean, the funny thing is, because things have just shifted so much into TikTok now and Instagram. Yeah. So there's actually a lot of bunnies with huge, huge followings on both of those platforms that make content, albeit it's different content. It's not really in the same vein as what we do. I mean, ours is definitely a lot more educational. And I think that a lot of like cute animal content that you see now, it's just like an animal doing something cute. So there's a lot of like cute bunny videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like, Lennon has a lot of like Instagram friends. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cute. And also with your content, like you said, it's like more educational. Like some of your best videos are like, the top 5 of this, as far as bunnies and your free roaming content. You also have done a series before where you have like, because I guess like, I mean, I would say Lennon probably has the best life. Like you probably are the bunny expert. So you've gone on and you've helped other people who have had poor bunny situations. You go in, you help them do like a makeover. Can you talk a little bit about that series? Like what's it called?
Oh yes, House Rabbit Makeover. That's the working title, but it's been the working title for a number of years now. But that's a really fun series that I started back in 2019. Yeah. And I would basically go to people's homes, and I played this sort of like Gordon Ramsay character where I'm just like, this sucks. This is horrible. We're chucking the cage. We're getting rid of this. We're throwing this out. And I would like, in a way, maybe like discipline the parents and the family too, and be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you letting your child? Oh yeah. I turn into like a different person. It's definitely like a character that I play. But it was really fun, and I didn't think it was going to do as well as it did. And every episode has just surprised me. It's gotten millions and millions of views. I think like the first one has like 2 million at this point. But I think, again, this was a result of just a space that was missing for rabbit content that like was being filled in a really fulfilling way for people. Because when I look at my analytics for those episodes, the majority of my viewers aren't even subscribed to me, which means that non-bunny owners are watching the content. Yeah. It's just they like the idea of this human element of people loving conflict and conflict being resolved.
It's like a reality show.
It is a reality. Yeah, it is like a reality show, and they love a beautiful ending. They love seeing the bunnies live happy lives and in better places. And I've had people just come up to me and be like, I got a bunny because of these episodes, you know? So that's really fun. And that's been I'd love to get that, funny enough you said, but I'd love to get that picked up.
So when it comes to that series, are there people who like dislike your attitude on there and like you've gotten some backlash for like being too hard on people?
Absolutely.
How do you take that? Are you like, oh, I'll be nicer next time? Or are you kind of like, no, screw this. This is like content gold.
I
think you embrace it.
For a minute there, so the first couple of episodes, because again, a lot of trial and error. I was just like, I was not super nice in my episodes, but it was coming from a place of like tough love. Yeah. Because sometimes if you go into these homes and you're just like, you're too nice, too accommodating, too sweet, people don't take advantage. I mean, they don't take you seriously. And also, sometimes when it comes to just like animal care in general, it's just like it can be triggering. Yeah. Like if you see an animal like suffering, that can be a little
You're
triggering.
just like, F this, you need to fix this right now.
Yeah.
Is it ever awkward? Like, are their homes ever like really like, I mean, you travel to their homes, right?
Yeah.
In California?
All over.
So you'll fly somewhere.
Over. Yeah, I did an episode. One of my most popular ones was actually in Virginia. Really? Yeah. It was so funny.
So do you go to like the pet store and get a bunch of stuff for them, or do you have brands that you work with? Or?
Yeah, so I used to. I mean, I still do, but a lot of them were sponsored, so that was helpful in terms of being able to like pay my cameraman, fund everything, fund all the items, the travel, and all that stuff. But yeah, what I do is I would basically dismantle the previous setup, and then I would go with the family and shop and buy everything brand new, better quality stuff. I'd have different brands provide like toys, treats, hay, all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's nice.
And do like a really beautiful makeover. So, they would be a surprise too. And they would come in and go, oh my God, like I had, usually it's a transition from like being in a cage to free roaming. So that's always like part of the surprise. But
so I do want to talk a little bit about like your product, because I feel like placement can be great. But before we go there, we can put Lennon back just so like, but wait, question.
Yes.
How old is Lennon?
Lennon is 8.
How long do bunnies live?
They can live like up to like, I don't know, like 12, 13, 14, if they're well taken care of, because, their lifespan can be shorter if they live in like a bad situation. Yeah.
So before we put Lennon away, I just want to because a lot of people will ask, like, this is a YouTube channel built off of Lennon. What is like your mentality around accepting the, inevitable? And what do you think about like, are you going to take another bunny and then that's going to be like, the channel's going to be replaced by another bunny? Do you kind of have because a lot of people are going to ask that question.
Absolutely. She's licking me, kissing me as you talk about her death. It's so morbid, but we got to talk about it, Lennon. It's definitely a truth that I face like every day. I think anyone with a pet, we think about it, right? We're like, oh my God, the day that they're no longer around. Absolutely. Yeah. And not even really because of the channel, but because I love her. And like, because at the end of the day, she's, my family. And you won't hear from me for a long time. I'll put it that way.
No, you need to call me right away. We could sit in silence and just
mourn. It's not gonna be a good day whenever that day comes, because she's like my soulmate. We've built a life together. She she's facilitated everything I have. These boots, like Prada bag, like everything.
Yeah, she's given you a purpose.
She gave me a purpose. She gave me, and I think about it all the time. I'm like, man, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't live in this apartment. I wouldn't have met this person. I wouldn't have gone on this trip and met this other person. And it's funny how life works, and every little decision that we make like affects our future. And the day that I got her, I mean, if you'd told me like that we would be in this position years down the line, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have. And it's just, she changed my life, and I will forever be indebted to her. And so, yeah, I think that with regards to the channel and her mortality, I just look at it as we'll keep doing it as long as we can.
Yeah, you're not even trying to really think about like.
Well, I think
like
about
it. You're not planning like a
but
replacement. Like you're not. There's no
I'm not
replacing.
I'm not thinking about like replacing her right now. I just think we'll do it as long as we can, and I mean, I may even stop the channel before. Like she might even surpass the channel. Like retire. I don't know. Yeah, like I might retire before she, her time comes. Like who knows, really? But I've definitely thought about like, if I want to keep the channel going post Lennon, I'd probably get another bunny. And I will forever be a bunny lady. Yeah. Because I feel like once you go bunny, well, this is my slogan. I need to trademark it. Once you go bunny, there's no other honey. Oh, yeah. So I'll probably never like own a dog or a cat or anything. It'll always be a bunny of some sort. As to how soon that would happen, no idea. I don't know if it would overlap. I don't know. I even want to get her a partner for her final years so she can have like a husband. They call it like there's all this like rabbit lingo. Yeah. There's husband. They go on a bunny moon while they bond.
Really?
Yeah,
where do
it's
they
like
go?
a whole process.
Or they're just like hanging out and like.
Well, they actually there's a bonding process to bond two bunnies together and like marry them. Obviously, I'm speaking like figuratively, but like in order for them to like each other, they have to go to like a neutral territory and like be bonded together. Because if I bring another rabbit into Lennon's territory currently, she'd probably kill that bunny.
Like be so defensive.
Oh yeah, she'd be like, "This is my territory." They'd probably fight, and it wouldn't be very pretty.
Oh, interesting.
I know.
I think a lot of people like you really have to know that before you buy another bunny.
I know.
Okay, well, let me try to hold. Can you like bring Lennon over here and let me try to hold?
Yeah, of course. You want to hold her?
Yeah, okay. Just like for the cat. I think it would be entertaining. People probably like want to see me hold the bunny.
Here, I'll put her on your lap like so, and then put your arm out. She'll hang over your arm. Yeah.
Can I hold her up?
You can. Oh.
Will this go? Yeah, we're in focus still.
So cute.
Aww.
That's a good shot.
She is cute. Okay, now let's put her in our thing. Okay, so now that we have Lennon on the couch, and thanks for letting me hold Lennon. So we talked about the death of Lennon, which hopefully doesn't happen for another 20 years. But oh my gosh. To like, just I guess let's talk a little bit about the business side of it, because you've been able to build this like empire around like a bunny, which is very talented. Like, you attribute a lot of it to Lennon, but it's really you at the end of the day too. Like, I know you see that through, but you just really needed that purpose to drive you to do that. And like,
you know what? That's really
inside of you.
Oh, God, you're so good.
So I've known you for a while now, and you've been working on a product. Can we talk a little bit about like how the free roaming like relates to that, and then what it's like to develop a product?
Yeah. So really the past like year and a half, I've been developing, the first rabbit litter box with a removable hay feeder. And, well, it's the first in this specific design especially. But,
so essentially, like, bunnies usually just poop in their cage, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
or on the ground?
The free roamers or, bunnies that are, they might have like an X pen or something. They use litter boxes. But yes, less educated folks will keep their bunnies in cages, and the bunny will just poop and pee in the cage, which is never sanitary, and it's just like an eyesore, and they're just like messy walking around and gross. Yeah, they're just walking around in their feces. No one's really been able, in my opinion, to really like solve the problem of how to sort of have a bunny and hay coexist and in like a less messy way. So it started off as like a napkin sketch actually like 7+ years ago, and I didn't really know like what to do with it. I just kind of set it aside. I was like, one day, like when I figure out how to release a product, I will deal with it. But then, yeah, the opportunity finally came to me because I was able to, I got a business partner who really believes in it. And it's been a process, like learning from start to finish how to make a product, how to release it, manufacture it, all this stuff. It's like, it's been a big learning curve.
So can you say the product line, the name?
Yeah, it's Hop.
Which I think is so cute, Hop.
Yeah.
Sounds like it could be in like Target and like PetSmart.
Totally, and that's like, I wanted it to be simple and easy and just, you know, a lot of it is, like our color is just white. So it's very modern and it's really just for the modern bunny. So it's very like minimalist and clean, like the logo, the look, everything. Yeah.
And to describe it, it's like essentially it's a way for you guys to own a bunny and to have them live just in your room, like walking around. Like, does Lennon have like a place where she sleeps at night?
She sleeps wherever she wants.
In your bed ever?
Not so much. Okay, so not my bed really, just because like we're on different circadian rhythms.
Oh yeah, so she'll sleep in the day?
Yeah, so actually they're like cats. They are crepuscular, which means they're most active like at dawn and dusk. But yeah, it's mostly because like she'll wake up a lot to like go use a litter box and do her thing and like sniff around, and like I'm just a really light sleeper, so it has more to do with me. Like I wake up if I hear birds chirping.
Yeah.
So if a bunny is hopping around in my bed, I'm not going to be able to sleep.
So for the litter box, it's like a contraption that's like has a tray and then it's like has another piece on top of it, something that you can kind of like have, I guess, like privacy for the bunny. And then there's some hay in there as well. And the hay is what, like, do they eat the hay or poop on the hay or both? Like,
yeah, so they eat hay. Their diet is majority hay. It's 80% hay because they have a high fiber diet, and this high fiber diet allows them to basically use the restroom. So in order to like, you know, poop, they consume hay. It kind of pushes it right through, if that makes any sense, right? And so what people have been doing for a number of years is they'll put hay in the litter box, or they'll kind of makeshift different little hay feeders, you know, baggies, buckets, all sorts of things to contain the hay. But it's just it's messy. It gets all over the place. I mean, it's like having a farm in your house. Think about it. Yeah. Hay is like associated with like horses and cows and stuff. And so when you have hay in your house and the bunny's kicking it everywhere, and it's been a big problem. And so I really feel like the litter box that I've developed over the past couple of years really eliminates a lot of the mess that comes with coexisting with hay.
Yeah, and I mean, I can say it's true because your place is like spotless. It's like perfect.
Yeah.
You have no
people
idea
would never know there's a bunny there.
Running free.
Yeah,
there.
people are always surprised when they see a bunny pop out. And they're like, what? Yeah.
So that's great. So, I mean, it's so daunting to create a product because you have to do molding and buy those machines that do the molding, and it's like a lot of work. Do you see yourself releasing it like anytime soon? Where are you right now in the process? Yeah,
we're at the end of the process, which is really exciting. We've been through a number of prototypes. Lennon's tested every prototype. It's been very time consuming, but we are close to the finish line. Once we approve this final prototype, then we'll start, you know, getting them made and sent over, and then it'll be available for purchase before the Christmas rush, hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, we'll update this video with a link too. Yeah. Also, I like how you say we this time too, but I know it's you and your business partner, not this business partner.
Yeah, well, actually, I guess in a way, I am still including her.
Well, she has been trying it out, right? Like the different prototypes.
The great thing is about like making a product where we need a bunny to test it out. You know, I have one, so.
Let's say, like, did you have to teach Lennon to be, like, house trained? Like, can someone teach an old bunny how to be house trained, or do they just, like, naturally go to this thing?
You know, yes and no. Obviously, they're domesticated. You know, they're not wild bunnies. So, you know, they do, like, depend on humans and know how to live with humans and all that stuff. You know, I think it boils down to, you know, they've got to get spayed and neutered. And as long as they're potty trained, litter box trained.
How do you train the bunny to be potty trained?
It's not that hard. You really just you give, well, like I said, the spaying and neutering helps because then they're not as territorial.
Yeah.
Because when they're not fixed, they just want to mark, right? Just like a dog.
Yeah.
So that helps. And then if you give them the litter box with all the proper contents inside, the hay and stuff, they will go in that corner. They're actually very clean, very organized. So they prefer to actually just go in one place. And I would say just like any pet, when they're babies, like a puppy or a kitten, it's a process.
Yeah.
They're more destructive. They're more hyperactive. They're all over the place. They're just exploring this new world that they're a part of. So that's probably the most challenging stage, I would say, when you bring a new bunny into your life. And then once they reach maturity, they're pretty mellow. They kind of get used to things. They're not as curious anymore. Like Lennon, especially at this age, because she's a senior, she just kind of sleeps all day.
Yeah.
Just chill. She's not as destructive. And, she's a good girl. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about you. So you and Lennon could really be anywhere. What's keeping you in LA?
That's a great question.
You're like, I don't know either.
Because I think I've talked about this with you so many times. But, I've definitely thought about, moving elsewhere, moving abroad, or, to another state. And it's actually, I still haven't eliminated that idea. I think it's still something I'd like to explore in the near future. But, we've stayed in LA this whole time mostly because, my heart will always be in California. And I think no matter where I go, I will always come back to California. There's just something special about LA and California that, and because you've been here a number of times, and despite all the hate that it gets, and it's a great place to be. There's just so much life and so rich in culture, and I just feel like you could never get bored here. There's always something to do.
So much to do.
Always something to do. We could talk about pros and cons all day, but I think living elsewhere is something I definitely like to explore. The problem is it gets hard when you're moving with a bunny.
Yeah.
A pet in general is one thing. It's hard, but then the bunny thing makes it complicated because there's only so many airlines that take her in the cabin.
Really?
Yeah.
Which ones? What's a good one?
Well,
United?
Yeah. Well, Alaska, Spirit, Frontier are the domestic ones in the U.S. There might be another one.
Yeah.
And then international, it's even fewer. So, if I want to go live in Lisbon, Portugal with her, I'd have to fly to New York, then from New York, take this specific airline go to Spain, then rent a car, drive to Portugal. So it would be a process. It's not easy to just move with her. And then there are countries, this makes it even worse, that don't even allow the entry of rabbits into their country, the importation of rabbits.
Because they think it's going to mess with the environment or something if the rabbit got free?
Yeah, it's a couple of things. Rabbits are still viewed as exotic animals. So they're not in that same category as dogs and cats that they can just, go in and out of everywhere, basically. But furthermore, there's this rabbit disease that's been going around the past few years. And, a lot of countries just don't want to spread it. Even though, she's vaccinated for it and stuff, people are still being weird about it. So it gets complicated for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about, we're getting older. And
Yes,
we hopefully one day want to settle down. So how is it dating in LA? At one point you did have a boyfriend that you did feature on your channel, and he had a bunny too, right?
Yeah. Well,
do you want to date a man that has a bunny as well? Are you looking for that?
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Yeah, I wouldn't call that guy my boyfriend, but we dated for a brief moment, and he did have a bunny, and I invited him on the channel to, I thought it would be cool. Because I thought the fans would appreciate it, because what are the odds that you would meet someone else with a bunny?
Yeah.
And, he was
did people appreciate it?
Good-looking dude.
Did they like it?
Yeah, they did. It was I think the majority of people were supportive, because they want to see me happy, and they liked the idea of Lennon having a dad and a brother because, the other bunny was a boy.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing with putting your personal life on the internet, which you can relate to, you just really open yourself up for like so much judgment. And this brings us back to like the fear of judgment thing.
Yeah.
Where, because, you know, I mean, I kind of knew what I was getting into, like when I made that video, but I mean, reading the comments, I felt were like a little brutal, and I kind of felt bad for the guy a little bit. I was
Did
like,
he
I
like
hope
see
he
that stuff
doesn't.
too? You know, probably.
He probably did. I was like, God, I hope he didn't read this comment about him. Gosh, like, but then things ended anyway, and I didn't care. I was like, whatever, and I like, just you know.
Have you found love yet in LA?
Have I fallen in love in LA?
Yeah. Have you found any guys? Like, what do you think? Do you think it's different? Like, so obviously California is fun, LA is great, but do you think it's like a different dating culture out here than it is in other cities?
Oh my gosh, you know. I could talk all day about this because, you know, I'm an expert. I don't think that I think LA has certain elements that are specific to LA, but to say LA is bad for dating, I think is like a misnomer just because I think that it's actually a global situation that everybody's in right now because dating is being exacerbated by technology and like the illusion of having so much choice and like social media.
Always wanting better. Like thinking that these like couples that are posting are amazing when really they're domestic violencing behind the scenes. That was just someone I think of in video that I'm like, I always see them posting and it looks so romantic in their videos, but I know them in real life and they're like totally faking it.
I mean, social media like isn't real, as we all know. I mean, we do our best to like live in it and embrace it. And like you and I think we've used it as a tool to, you know, and I think in a good way. But yeah, there are people who use it in a bad way. And my point is, because I digress.
Like expectations are kind of set way too high.
I absolutely. And I think that bleeds into like the dating and all that stuff, as you mentioned. Just, you know, there's a lot of like lusting after Instagram models and stuff too. And those people aren't even real, as you know, like those are highly like face-tuned
I see them in person. I'm like, you are not the same.
Yeah. So it's a really wild time. And I'm like, God, what would our parents have done with dating apps? Would that have like really shifted things back in like the 90s? You know, it would have been crazy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's hard out here, so.
I know. But to answer your question, I don't think I've like, I've fallen in love a couple times for sure. But you know, for whatever reason, like the powers that be just would not allow it to flourish. Yeah.
I feel like you're also in an interesting position because of your career with Lennon. Like a lot of people, like I've noticed with my boyfriend, he knows a lot of people through work. And like through those things and going to an office and seeing a lot of people and like switching jobs. So he's got friends in all these different cities. And like for us, we've got like a schedule where we get to sit and be at home all day. So it's like you get less social exposure, less opportunity to possibly run into that person.
No, absolutely. And we were talking about this with Shelby the other day. Is like, it's really interesting just being in our field. We're at home all day. And I mean, you have a great social life. Because that's because you put effort into it and you put yourself out there and stuff. I'm like such an introvert. And so, I mean, I kind of have my little circle, like, you know, on one hand, I can count the people that I talk to regularly. Like you're one of them. But it's so easy to like self-isolate in this job.
Yeah.
If you're like pumping out content every day, you're editing every day, you're at home every day. And then, it's hard to meet people. And then also when people find out what you do for a living, that can complicate things too. Because I'm sure you've had your fair share of like, you know, you just never know like people's true intentions or whatever. Yeah.
Or even some people, they just truly value their privacy. So like, at least for my boyfriend, like he never wants to be on anything ever. He never wants to be on camera, never wants that. Yeah. And I'm like, perfect. I don't want like two of me. Like that sounds like tragic.
Yeah, no. I mean, it'd be great to date someone who like isn't in the industry, I think, because you can have a little bit of a break from it. But also, I mean, my family is that way too. Like my brother, like doesn't want me to name drop him, tag him, anything. Like, And it's funny how different like some people are, because that's not how you and I are.
No, I know. I'm like, I'm happy on camera. Like certain things, I definitely like the Coachella cheating video. That was like a lot.
Yeah.
But it was something I needed to do for like healing as well. But I don't want to let people in that much because, and you don't either. Like you know, they see your life,
well, and
but they
it
don't
made
really
for
know.
great content too.
No, I know. It was great. The views were excellent.
Yeah. I always say, like, if you can make a little bit of money off heartbreak, like, why not?
Well, paid for the Hawaii trip. I just took him on the week before he cheated on me. So
exactly. There you go.
Yeah,
that's your sound bite right there.
I mean, he's probably heard it enough. He's like, delete that video. And I'm like, no. It's a warning to the world. Even though nobody knows who he is, unless you know.
Except for me.
Yeah, unless you, like, know me. You don't know. Like, there are people after that video that went to, like, my other guy friends were, like, messaging, like, why would you cheat on Sloan? They're like, I'm friends with him. Like, I never dated him. Nobody knows. So, you know, we'll just leave it out there because what damage has really been done. And
I know, but you're in a thriving relationship right now. And I'm like so happy for you.
I'm such a relationship
Have you talked about your man yet?
I have a little bit, yeah. Yeah, people know he's older. He's moving, which is like unfortunate. At this point, I think he would have already moved. So, yeah, it's a lot. I think I'm going to do a life update soon.
But I think this is like the happiest I've seen you in a while. And it just seems like such a healthy place for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And he seems like he's just so good to you without giving too much away.
Yeah, I do way better in relationships than not. So that's why I want you to like find love too. You deserve it.
Well, all my friends do. Like literally everyone's like, your day is coming. Your day is coming. But I think there's an element of like, you know, there's a lot of like self-work that one has to do and feel okay being alone and independent before you can actually be with someone. And so I think that I've been working on that for a number of years now. So I do feel ready. I feel ready. Yeah.
No, you've been good about it. We've talked about that too. And like you just like, you know, finding yourself and those things and like finding where the underlying problems come from. Like we all have that.
And finding a guy who's like, because it's such a weird time too, like when you're a woman who's, you know, doing well for herself and stuff, and finding a guy who's okay with that, and you know.
Definitely, I've had past partners like that as well. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up unless you have anything else to add. I mean, Hop, look out for that in the hopefully Christmas season. If not, 2024. Start off your year with a new bunny. Like, her bunny is smarter than my dog, so.
Oh my gosh. I love Bunny though. Bunny's so sweet.
Yeah, well,
except not for Lennon.
When my dog met Lennon, she went into full like animal mode. Like
Bunny almost decapitated Lennon. And actually you should have seen your face. You were like shocked.
Yeah. I thought she was gonna be sweet to Lennon, but no, she wanted to eat Lennon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know. Because look at her. How could you not want to eat her? I want to eat her all the time. She looks well fed too. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hop will be out soon. All the updates will be on our socials. So at Lennon the Bunny for everything.
Yeah, we will list it below, and your shorts and your reels. Everything's doing really great on there. So definitely go and check them out. And check out the channel. So thank you for coming on, Lorelei.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys in next week's episode. Bye guys.
Bye.